welcome to episode 88 of Did You Bring the Hummus podcast. I'm Kimberly, your host, and I'm super excited to be here with you today. Did You Bring the Hummus is a podcast for all things vegan. Episodes post every Monday on your favorite podcast app. Before we get started, I have one very important question for you. Did you bring the hummus? Do you love the podcast? Would you get a kick out of hearing a shout out on a future episode? How about to connect virtually with me and other listeners quarterly or monthly? Or if you're a vegan business who would love to sponsor episodes of Did You Bring the Hummus? I'd love to chat. Find out more under the Support the Podcast tab on my website. Did you know that this podcast is a direct result of a public speaking project? I fully believe that without that level of practice, I would never have even thought to start a podcast. So now I'm offering public speaking guidance and coaching, specifically for those who are terrified, but know that facing this fear is what will take them to the next level in their business, career, or life in general. Check out the Public Speaking 101 tab on my website to learn more and schedule a free call to find out if I'm the right person to help you navigate this journey. Today, I am joined by Gregg Rozeboom of Fruitive. Gregg is an entrepreneur and founder of Fruitive, a 100% plant-based café. With over 12 years of experience in the restaurant industry, Gregg successfully manages 2 locations, one in DC's city center and the other in Hilltop, Virginia Beach. He is passionate about serving his customers with high-quality ingredients to promote a healthier lifestyle and creating a welcoming atmosphere for his community. Gregg also runs his own consulting brand, where he coaches others in lifestyle habits, knowledge, and methodology. In his free time, he enjoys spending time with his wife and 5 kids, reading and exploring nature. Hey, Gregg, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I'm so excited for our conversation. And I say that with every guest, but it's so true. My absolute favorite thing is to talk to other vegans and hear their stories and just talk about all the amazing things they're doing. And that's exactly what we're going to do here today. So to start off, tell me about your vegan journey.
Yeah, so it started when I was a boy. I was sitting in a doctor's room, and I was sitting on the little, I don't know, what do you call those? They're not beds, they're the little things that fold out.
Right.
I'm sitting up there, and as a boy, my legs are dangling, and the reason I was there is because of my migraine headaches. And my mom was really concerned. I kept having these migraines, and I still remember, the doctor was very nice, but he kind of pronounced, yes, that I had migraines. And that he talked about how some people have migraines like on a cycle. So I might have migraines, periodically. And then there was, another time in my childhood that comes to mind, and another, I don't know I can't remember if it was the same doctor or a different doctor, but essentially we had another discussion about the headaches or migraines, and he explained to me how it really sounded like most of my headaches were migraines. And what I just remember from those visits is that nothing came up about diet or lifestyle. It was simply a pronouncement, like it's almost like you have ADHD or you have this condition. And for me, it was, you have migraine headaches. And so throughout my life, I struggled with those. And at different times, the question maybe came up in my mind, could my diet or lifestyle be related to this? But I don't think I took it too seriously. As you skip ahead from, growing up, when I was 16, I got my driver's license, and, I remember like driving to McDonald's and Wendy's and eating junk food and loving it. My favorite candy bar was a Hershey, the Hershey bar, and I just ate those, sometimes 2 or 3 of those a day, and I was just living the regular American life and standard American diet. When I was 18, my parents called me downstairs and wanted me to watch this video. And so they put on this video, and it's this preacher guy, and he starts preaching about how the right diet for humans is a plant-based diet. And I still remember it was called the Hallelujah Diet. And so he was like super into like the Hallelujah Diet, and he was very passionate. And by the end of that video, I was converted. I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat plant-based.
Yeah.
And that's what God wants me to do. And so I listened to this guy, and I he had some books, and my parents got the books, and I decided, yeah, this is the right diet for me, and I'm going to go plant-based. And I think he probably said something in there about how, I would feel better, and so I thought, yeah, maybe this is going to help with my headaches. So I tried to eat only salads and eat, healthy food.
Hmm.
And I think I lasted maybe 1 or 2 days before I had a burger. And and that really became my story from there on, is recognizing that there was a healthier way to eat,
Hmm.
but really being addicted to burgers and to milk and to
Yep.
cheese and all the other American food and the food that I'd grown up with. And so from that point on, I would say from the age of 18 on, I had this ideal of what a healthy food was. It was really the things that grow from the ground. But I couldn't meet that ideal. I couldn't reach it. And so I really struggled. Sometimes I would have more commitment, or I would have more self-discipline, but I really began to believe of myself that I lacked commitment, that I lacked self-discipline. Every time I tried a diet, every time I tried to do a new exercise program, I would only last a few days, maybe a few weeks at most.
Hmm.
And then I would give in, and I would fail, and I would still remember, just this is all the way now in my 30s, that I would see people like running down the sidewalk, and then I would see them the next day and the next day, and I would see them the next month and months later, and I would think, wow, they were born with so much self-discipline and I wasn't. uh and I just saw myself as somebody who couldn't, that I could try a diet, but I just couldn't complete it. And so now comes my mid 30s, and I have this opportunity to open a cafe. And I I wanted to open a cafe that was healthy.
Hmm.
And I had known, from really that age of 18, when I watched the video on the Hallelujah Diet, I believed like that's the healthiest diet. So I thought, well, why don't I start a cafe where it's all healthy food? It's all plant-based. And while I'm not there yet, I believe that every time I go there, I'm eating that healthy food.
Yeah.
And so I started Fruitive in 2012, 12 years ago. That's my restaurant. And we now have a location in Washington, D.C. and in Virginia Beach. And I started it as my ideal. And all the things on the menu were going to be my ideal of what healthy food was. And I knew that every time I went there, my parents went there, my children went there, my people in my community went there, we were going to serve them the healthiest food that we could.
Hmm.
But even when I started it, it was an aspiration for me too. It wasn't like I had made it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
now I'm this paradigm of health, and everybody come and follow me and do what I do. It was, this is what I desire to eat all the time, and I'm not there yet. But I'm going to start this restaurant, so I know every time I go there, I'm eating healthy. And and so I start Fruitive, and we're building the brand. Eventually we built it to 5 locations over the years, and we had locations in DC and Virginia. And the migraines were getting worse. And part
Oh,
of the reason is the stress of building a company,
yeah.
the stress of building a business. And even though I was running this healthy restaurant, the reality behind the scenes is I was not sleeping at nights. I was stressed about, how we were going to make money, and that was leading into the more migraines. Even though I was eating at this point probably 80 to 90% plant-based, I was still struggling with the migraines and the sleeplessness. And so uh in 2018, I was going to be 40. And um, and something happened leading up to 2018 before I turned 40, and that is that I decided for a whole year that I was going to keep a journal. And so I started the beginning of the year and I started keeping this journal, and I thought at one paragraph a day. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I was able to keep a commitment to,
Mm.
I made a New Year's resolution and I was able to keep it. I was just faithful every day with it. And that really built my faith in myself and my ability to have some self-discipline. And so what happened is the next year, I did a commitment towards a daily exercise routine. And I was able to, for the first time in my life, to follow through. And I began to build that faith in myself. And so by the time I was about to turn 40, I thought, now is the time I want to go plant-based.
Mhm.
But even then I thought, why don't I start vegetarian? So I started vegetarian. This is the beginning of 2018, and I'm drinking milk and I'm eating cheese, but I'm plant-based and not eating meat. And I was still getting the migraines.
Mhm.
When my birthday came around in May, I was turning 40 and I thought, uh, now I'm going to go 100% plant-based. So I went 100% plant-based, and a month goes by and I didn't have a migraine. And
Mm.
it was such a big deal because migraines had been such a big part of my life, my whole life, that
Yeah.
I remember saying like to my wife, I haven't had a migraine in a whole month. Then 2 months go by and I didn't have a migraine. And 3 months went by and I was feeling healthier than I'd ever been. And
Mhm.
it was just by the end of that year, I think I'd maybe had one little migraine in the
Mm.
fall that was a cause of maybe not sleeping enough and some other things. But by the end of that year, it was so clear to me that the difference between eating even mostly plant-based, and I was still getting the migraines, to when I went fully plant-based and committed to eating healthy all the time and
Mhm.
not cheating on a burger or that Hershey bar or anything else, and just really not having any cheese, but being really fully committed to eating healthy, full-time, plant-based, 100% vegan. Uh, that made all the difference. And that doctor that I saw when I was a kid, didn't realize that all the way back when I was a kid, that diet that I was eating was already affecting my health, was
Mhm.
already causing me to not feel well. And it took me much of my life, all the way to 40, to come to that point where I really made that connection. And I haven't touched anything non-vegan since that day. So that's my story.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, unfortunate, but so glad that you got there um at at some point. It just kind of sucks that these doctors, they don't have enough nutrition training. There's no
Mhm.
understanding, so that as a kid coming in with migraines all the time, that, like you were saying, they just were like, well, you've got migraines. Well, gee,
Mhm.
doc, thanks, that helps. I didn't know that already. And they just kind of send you off with, well, hope it gets better.
Yeah,
And they just have no idea to even look at, like, are you living on Little Debbie's and deli sandwiches and
exactly.
mac and cheese, and not even to question that. They'll be like, "Oh, you're hyperactive. Here, take this medication to calm you down." Like, "No, it's just because 'cause I'm hopped up on sugar all the time because I eat
Yeah,
like shit." So
yeah, exactly.
yeah. Uh, it's frustrating, but so glad to hear that now you're feeling better and the migraines are gone, and and you've met that aspiration. So now you eat the way that your restaurant demonstrates that the community, may want to eat, and you're sharing that health and that information. That's really wonderful. So did you reduce the stress by reducing the number of restaurants too?
Yeah, I'm so grateful for all the different things that have happened over the years with Fruitive. We, COVID hit, and that really caused the amount of restaurants to reduce. Um, but I've just had to learn how to be more self-disciplined in many areas of my life. And I think self-discipline is really a big part of my story as well, and learning how to create habits around my work, around my task lists every day, sleep habits. And so I've really, over the last 10 years, transformed to where now uh, I really, my whole family is like, thinks that I'm like the most amazing self-disciplined person. And I'm like, the real story is I wasn't born this way.
Yeah,
You
take
know,
my
it
word for
really
it.
had to be me, like recognizing like this is not healthy that I'm not able to sleep at nights. Like, let me work really hard to find solutions and habits that I could form, and read different books around sleep and health. And so, yeah, it's been a journey, but I now really see myself as someone um, who is self-disciplined and does have the self-control to stick to a diet or to stick to a sleep schedule, or a plan around how to manage my work tasks.
Yeah. It's important to have patience too, right?
Mhm.
I know for me, I've definitely been um not so self-disciplined and not great at making sure I'm getting things done or getting enough
Mhm.
sleep or working out enough. And then you decide like, okay, I'm ready to do this. And then
Mhm.
it's like, why am I not already doing it? And you got to remember like, you spent a long time not doing the thing and now
Yeah.
you have to be patient and build up that muscle that
Yep.
you're remembering to do the thing every day and be consistent. And then like if you just stick with that, the journey unfolds and it becomes this incredible thing and you're doing
Yeah.
it. But my goodness, do you need some patience in the beginning?
Definitely. Yeah, it really I didn't tell the full story, but it was really a I would say a 10-year process of like that first year where I started keeping that journal every day. And it was just something small, but it was something I did. And when I did it, and then it was the next year, another exercise routine I decided to do every day. And it was like year after year, kind of building that
Mhm.
muscle that you mentioned of like being able to keep a habit, being able to form a habit and be committed to it. So yeah, it's I agree that it takes patience with ourselves.
Mhm. For sure. So now do you feel like you're more plant-based or are you vegan? Does it bleed out into the rest of your life where you're not using animal products in other areas, not just what you're eating?
Yeah, so definitely starting Fruitive was like as my story indicates, it was very focused on the health side of eating plant-based. As I have built Fruitive over the years, I've taken time to watch the many videos and documentaries that are online, and you cannot watch those and not be impacted. Um,
Mhm.
you know, when you see the undercover footage of what's happening, to you know to the chickens or the cows or any of these animals that we're eating in our society and the way they're being abused. It's horrifying. And so yeah, I'm fully on board with uh, being, not just calling myself plant-based, but also vegan.
Mhm.
And I around the time I turned 40, I also, it wasn't just going plant-based, it was making sure I was wearing and vegan products and using
Mhm.
vegan products. So yeah, I'm fully on board um with being vegan for the sake of the animal kingdom, being vegan for the sake of my own health, and being vegan for the sake of the planet
Mhm.
and the environment.
Yeah. That's wonderful. It's tough. It's so hard, but it's I think one of the most meaningful and beautiful things that we can do in this life is to
Hmm.
make that choice and stop contributing and being part of that system.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
My my son went to like it was a little school excursion the other day, and he was on this small farm in the area, and they bring in different animals, and he was surrounded by chickens, and they just loved him. And one of the people that worked there, she was like a educator, she came over and said to my son, she's like, the animals really love you. And he came home and he was like, yeah, I think the animals knew that I was vegan.
Yeah. Oh.
And he's like, I think the animals spread the word amongst themselves because um but it's just when you ask him, he's 10. When a customer at Fruitive the other day said to him, like, why are you vegan? And he said, for the planet.
Oh.
And I think he recognizes, like, raising him now, eating at Fruitive often and talking about these issues, is just excited to see his passion for
Yeah.
animal rights and for what we're doing, for the impact we're having on the environment.
For sure. And that was going to be my next question. Like, how does your family, has anyone else come along? So obviously your son has, but has anyone else kind of seen what you're doing and the changes that you are making, and have they joined you as well?
Yeah, so it's definitely had an impact. I think my parents, I would say, eat almost all plant-based, um and we've seen others in the family that are curious about it. And my immediate family, my wife, joined me.
Mhm.
I think what happened is she and my kids watched the transformation that summer of 2018. They watched the transformation over the summer, and it was so clear to them, how much healthier I was, that uh she said to the kids, she's like, let's all do this with dad. And
Mhm.
it was in a sense, it was, once she was on board, it would became really easy for the whole family because she's really creative and had always helped with the Fruitive recipes. So she's just very creative when it comes to helping create amazing tasting food. And so then it really became something that we were doing together as a family.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I really do love that your son is embracing the whole of it, not just the food piece, and recognizing what a difference he's already making in the
Mhm.
world. So very exciting to see just how his life unfolds in that way
Yeah.
too. What a beautiful story.
Yeah, I love that he was with a few other people, and everybody else was having an ice cream cone. And when they picked that ice cream shop, they thought that they had vegan options, but the ice cream shop was out of vegan options.
Oh.
And so here he is, like, standing there, and everybody around him was all licking their ice cream cones. And I remember just looking at his face, and he was just like, it was not an option for him. He didn't
Mhm.
even see it as an option. So he just stood there like, it's okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And um, so it was just sweet to see that, like, uh, for me, it was a lifelong journey, but raising my children, it's exciting to see them embrace it more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds like they've got two really solid inspirers in you and your wife. So good for them. So from Fruitive and all the things you've learned about being disciplined, sticking to things, being consistent, now you're kind of expanding into something new, right? You're actually helping other people do this very same thing. Tell me about how that's kind of become a thing and what you're working on now.
Yeah, so uh, we've over the years, I've had, like, just interacted with so many customers and have had the opportunity to encourage them to eat plant-based, tell them my story. And I've seen, many come to Fruitive and talk to me about the transformation they've seen in their own lives. Just yesterday, I had a husband and wife come in and just talk about the transformation that happened in their lives in 2017. And she was sick and he and his wife started looking for what to do. They started reading some books, um and just discovered plant-based eating, and so they went fully plant-based in 2017, and they came into Fruitive yesterday and were just telling me their short story. And the day before, I had a doctor in there telling me almost the exact same story. And so it's just really, you know being at Fruitive every day and having a plant-based restaurant, I have that opportunity to see a lot of people that come in. And so some people are more in the beginning of that journey, where they're curious about what do they need to do to live a healthier lifestyle. And one person came to me in April and asked if I would help them eat plant-based. And or help them. They wanted to lose weight, and they explained to me that when they went to the doctor is very concerned about multiple areas of their health. And and they said that when they did the BMI test, they were morbidly obese,
Mm.
and that he needed to lose 100 pounds. And he said, I have tried to do this over the years. I've tried so many different diets. And he just said, I actually said something similar I had said. He's like, I'm just not self-disciplined, and I don't have what it takes to do this. And so would you help me? So it was like, yes. And so I created a little program for him, and he started on May 1, so just 1 month ago.
Mhm.
And he and I just talked to him last night, and I asked him how his first month went. I've been connecting with him through text or phone call every single day over the course of the month for a quick touch base. And I asked him how the first month was. Last night, he said that it it was been so amazing.
Mm.
It doesn't compare to any of the diets he's ever done. He said, all the diets I've ever done was always like saying, you can eat the same food, but you just count your calories. And
Right.
so he's like, I would always be on these other diets. I was always hungry. I was starving because I'm like eating less calories, and I was working out, and I would do like these intense workouts, and I'd be like worn out and hungry, and it was miserable. And he said, for the first time, I'm on this diet, and you're saying within these parameters, you can eat as much as you want. And and so he's been doing that for the month. He said, I immediately, when I started the diet, I felt full, I felt healthy, and my mind was clear. It's been 1 month, and he's lost in the last 30 days 18 pounds.
Wow, that's amazing.
He's he's like blown away. He's like, I've never lost this much weight. He's excited about the rest of the summer.
Mhm.
And the simple diet is it's plant-based. So he's only allowed to eat plant-based foods, and uh SOS free.
Mhm.
So SOS free is salt, oil, sugar. And so what is really good about being not only plant-based but SOS free is for someone, especially in his situation, is he said when he goes to the store, there's all these plant-based options now. Like,
Yeah.
he can go through the meat section, he go through the dairy section, he go through the snack section, and there's all these plant-based options. And he's like, wow, this is going to be an easy diet because I just kind of do all these replacement things. And I'm like, when I said it's SOS free, then he was like, oh.
I
And he
can't eat
started
any of
looking
that.
at yeah, he started looking at packaging, and he's like, none of that fits into my, like, I can't eat any of this replacement stuff. And so it forced him to have to eat, like, to actually have to eat raw fruits and vegetables, and to cook the vegetables up, and to have rice, and he could add spices to the rice. And it's like, being the SOS free has really forced him to truly eat a healthy plant-based diet and not just do all the substitutes. Um, and so it's just been really awesome to watch this transformation just over the month. Like I said, I've texted or talked to him almost every day this month, and he keeps repeating, like, I feel so good.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
I feel good. And so I've had him also, he's read a couple different books over the course of the month. I had him start with Atomic Habits, just so he can be really thinking about, as he's starting new habits, what does it look like to have, making these new lifestyle choices, and how does he be consistent with that? And then I had him read Walking with PD. Um, and that just is really, that was such a good book to read in his situation, and I highly recommend that book. um and uh and then he just started Fiber Fields,
Okay.
um
That's
and
a good
that's
one. I
another.
love that one. Yeah.
Yeah, he I love how he starts with his own personal story, and then
Mhm.
he kind of mixes his story in with like the scientific facts and the stories of some of his patients. So Yeah, so it's been a fun journey with him, and I'm uh, uh yeah, I'm excited as other people are interested in needing wanting help or wanting somebody to come alongside them and help them. Uh, and I don't see myself as this great master coach, but just somebody who's been through trying to figure it out myself. And
Yeah.
it's exciting now that I'm able to help others as they're starting on the same journey.
Yeah, I think that is really where the power lies when you're with a coach, when
Mhm.
they've been there, they're a few steps ahead of you. So you
Yeah.
don't have to be, like you said, the master coach. You don't have to have all the answers, do all the things, but if they're just a few steps behind you even,
Mhm.
you've already been there, you've got the stories, you've got the knowledge, you know how they feel
Mhm.
in so many of these ways, then feel heard and empowered and encouraged because they see now where you are. And I
Mhm.
think it is just a really, really like the best way to relate to a coach is to find somebody who's been exactly where you are, but now they're just a little bit ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the great thing about what you're doing and the way that you are focused on the whole foods and leaving out the salt, oil, and sugar is that they're not on a diet now. They're
Mhm.
on a food plan that they can eat for the rest of their lives,
Yeah.
and they're not going to feel deprived. They're not going to be hungry all the time. That's why the diet culture and these weight loss companies and this industry is making so much money is because you can't sustain it.
Yeah.
Like you were saying that he was like, I'm hungry all the time when I've done these other diets. And you just can't, when you have access to food,
Mhm.
you can't just starve yourself
Yeah.
and expect that this is how you're going to live your life.
Yeah.
And so to be able to know like you're eating all this abundance and you never have to be hungry and you can be satisfied and your health improves.
Yeah.
You can do that the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, people don't realize how much variety there is of
Right.
different fruits and vegetables and grains and nuts. And that's been one of the things that he's mentioned too, is the other day I had him count up how many different, ingredients or plant foods that he ate. And he said like in one day, it was like 32 different ingredients. And that's so exciting and so healthy for his body.
Mhm.
What is it, Americans eat, it's not that much. It's like milk, cheese, chicken, beef, and pork. And it's like that, and maybe some mashed potatoes on the side. And that really, it's less than 10 ingredients that makes up so much of our diet.
Right.
Um, I think the most common two vegetables that we eat in the United States is potatoes and and tomatoes. And
Oh,
the reason is because potatoes are made into French fries
right.
and tomatoes are made into ketchup. And so
Oh.
we are, we're once they've gone through that much processing, and it had that much sugar added to the ketchup or that much oil added to the fries, it's not really it doesn't look very much like it was meant to look.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so true. The variety thing is so true. Because when I was pre-vegan, I ate a lot of sandwiches and they had, lettuce, tomato, onion on them, but that was it. And I ate a lot of burgers with pickles and lettuce, tomato, onions. But I'd eat potatoes, but this idea that I would eat things like edamame and broccoli rabe and radicchio and endive and escarole and kale. I was not eating kale. And now like I still don't I like my kale cooked or
Yeah.
massaged. I definitely can't just eat a leaf of kale, but
Yeah.
I'm getting there. Um and the variety, even when I'm in the different cuisines, I never ever would have tried so many of the cuisines that I eat now
Yeah.
because I was so regimented in what I was willing to try. And
Mhm.
now, once I even once I went vegetarian, the idea that I wasn't going to bite into like a tendon, or that's what I was always afraid of. Like I had to know exactly what was going to be on my plate because I didn't want to be biting. And then this is how I know I was meant to be vegan like my whole life. Um, every thought was like, is there going to be a tendon in here, or like a
Oh,
vein? Or I was like so concerned about that I was afraid to try different types of animal meats and things like that. And I mean, that worked out. I'm glad I didn't explore and
yeah,
contribute further. But yeah, the variety is unbelievable.
yeah. And so healthy, that's what I love about Fiber Fueled is that book. He just describes our gut biome, microbiome, and how when we're eating all of this variety of healthy plant-based foods, it's just our gut microbiome is thriving. It's
Hmm.
like alive. And
Yep.
when we're eating the dead foods, the meats and all the junk foods, it's coming in and it's like essentially like our microbiome is like dying.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
so you can either have like this incredible gut health that is just alive, and that your guts is like the transportation of nutrients to the rest of our body. And so
Mhm.
we either have this gateway that is alive and healthy and thriving, or it's like dingy and dirty and dying. And no wonder why we have so many health problems in our world today.
Yeah.
And if we get back to more traditional diets where it was more focused on just what we're growing, it's really going to transform so many lives. And this is we're talking about health. And
Mhm.
if you've experienced not having health, uh and experienced the migraines or so many of the other diseases we have in our culture, like this is really saving people's lives,
Yeah.
is recognizing that there's a healthier diet and a
Hmm.
healthier way to live and a healthier lifestyle. And I agree with you. I even with this person I've been working with the last month, I avoid using the word diet and I really try to use the word lifestyle. This is a lifestyle choice and a lifestyle change. So
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, the fiber fueled recipes are so good. Like out of I actually have right here, I have the cookbook.
oh,
And
nice.
you'll see
Yes.
that I've got tons of pages tagged,
I
and
love it.
the biome broth that
Yeah.
is in the fiber fueled book, we
Uh-huh.
make that probably once a week. And
Nice.
sometimes we do like it does the recipe does include oil, but you can omit the oil and the biome
Yeah.
broth is so good. So we rotate back and forth between that. But in this one,
Hmm.
I'll take a screenshot when I'm
Yeah.
going through the video of the two of us here. But in this one, there are like 5 other versions. There's a French biome broth, a like a pho-based biome broth, and they're amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, so much I mean, I love a lot of the other, books that talk about ways to improve our health,
Yeah.
but the recipes aren't as good as the
Yeah.
Fiber Fields. That's my opinion, but I'm putting it out there. Get these books because the recipes are amazing.
I sell that book, his cookbook, right up by our register. And so that one, I agree with you. That one's one of my favorites. And so we have
Yeah,
that permanently placed in Fruitive.
so good. I'm excited to I'm gonna pull something out of there and make a recipe with Fiber
Nice.
Fueled today. Yeah.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Um, so for the listeners, what is like 3 things that you would tell them if they're concerned about their health for whatever reason? The doctor said, "Hey, you've got to lose weight," or they're just uncomfortable with their
Mhm.
bodies and they want to be more comfortable and be able to do more things in their own life, or just are having a thought about I could be healthier.
Mhm.
What are 3 things you'd say start here
Mhm.
and then go from there?
Yeah, so I would I'm guessing a lot of your listeners are already, aware of plant-based and so I would say, start with just making that commitment to eating only plant-based foods. And then for some people, it is difficult unless you're working with a coach potentially to go the SOS free right
Mm,
off the bat. So I would say just in your mind, start saying 1 meal a day SOS free. Maybe it's breakfast, maybe it's lunch, or 2 meals a day SOS free. And then maybe dinner, then you can, have something that has some salt, sugar, oil in it. Um, and so I've read pretty much all the plant-based books that come out from the different doctors. I've read them, and that's
mhm,
really where a lot of the encouragement to go SOS free is coming from. Is a lot of the doctors that have done the research are saying like, um, it's that salt, sugar, oil, that when we're adding that to plant-based, it really is hard to distinguish what's healthy and what's not healthy
mm.
anymore. So when we recognize those three and we say, okay, let me start looking for those in what I'm eating, that's gonna make a difference. Um, I would say the first thing is eating plant-based and really making a commitment around having some meals that are SOS free. The second thing is to read some plant-based books. And some of the ones we've mentioned today, Walking with PD is a really good one. The Engine 2 diet, it's a little bit older, but
Mhm.
I still sell it at Fruitive because I think it's a really good introduction to eating plant-based for health. And so I would recommend the Engine 2 diet. Fiber Field is a good one. And then How Not to Die
Mm.
uh, from, or Dr. Gregor. And so there's a lot of good plant-based books out there. And I would just go on, and find one of these ones that we're talking about, or one of the other ones that you recommend. And then I would say the third factor is to find somebody who can encourage you in your journey. Uh,
Mhm.
and for some of us, it's finding a podcast like yours that's encouraging us in our journey. And or finding a person like myself who can help encourage you as you're seeking to eat healthier, or just a friend or someone else that you know of that's eating this way.
Yeah, those are great. So do you help people who are just local to you, or are you available for people around the world? Can you meet on Zoom, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can meet on Zoom. So just contact me if you go to Fruitive's, any of Fruitive's social medias. I just recently launched my own little personal, social media as well. But if you go to any of Fruitive's social medias, Instagram at Fruitive, and contact me, DM me there, where I look at that every single day, and I'm on there. So,
Awesome. Yeah. One of my recommendations, book-wise, is The Cheese Trap by Neil Barnard,
oh,
Dr. Neil
yes.
Barnard. Yeah. So if you are a person listening and you're like, I'm never giving up cheese, read that book.
Yes. I just had a customer tell me 2 days ago, they said the last thing I held on to is cheese,
Yep.
and that's a hard one, but the cheese trap, I love Dr. Bernard, and
Too.
he just came out with his most recent book just a month ago, so we have a few of those at Fruitive as well. So,
Oh, awesome. Good stuff. You're staying on top of it, making sure that
yep.
everybody's got the most recent and up-to-date info. I love it. Greg, I've got one more question for you. How does hummus show up in your life?
Oh, wow, you had to ask.
I
Uh,
did.
That's such a great question. I love hummus. If you read that book Fiber Field, he talks about the importance of beans, and specifically he talks about chickpeas, and they're so important for our health. And when I read his book, I was like, man, I need to be eating my beans every day. And you
Mhm.
know what? Hummus is a great way to get my beans every day. And so hummus is definitely on my daily list. Usually I have my hummus with veggies. So I'll start my
Mhm.
day with just carrots or celery or peppers, and just dip them into hummus. And at Fruitive, we make our hummus oil free. Most of the hummus you buy off the shelves have oil in them, but it's really easy at home to
Yeah.
make oil free hummus. That's the way we make it at our restaurant. And but you know, I really am one of those. I'm fanatical about my hummus, and
Mhm.
some of our favorite recipes at Fruitive are Southwest wrap and our Southwest salad, and quite a few other recipes have hummus in it.
I love it. And yeah, you make a good point about the oil is that, and I've, since I've started this podcast, done a lot of reading about hummus, learning about hummus, and traditionally the oil, when it is incorporated, is after you've made the hummus, you do the little like
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the little ditch in it, and then you
Mhm.
fill that with some oil as like a presentation and a little extra flavor. So you're using like super robust olive oil that has a lot of flavor and is the
Yeah.
extra virgin, but it's so delicious without that. And
Yeah.
so you just don't need to add that. And what I've done is I'll still make that little ditch because it does look really nice, and I'll
Uh-huh.
fill it with, like, za'atar seasoning and some whole chickpeas because then it makes the texture more interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
I wanna try your hummus.
Yeah. We'll have you come up to New Jersey.
Awesome.
Yeah. Greg, this has been wonderful. I know that I have learned so much and am so inspired by you and what you're doing and your son. So please tell him that he's going to inspire lots of others as well. I love that at 10 he's already like, ice cream, dairy ice cream is just not an option. It's not
Yeah,
food. And
yeah.
to see it as not food, that is, I think, when the switch has really flipped. I always say that wrong.
Mhm.
The switch has really flipped when you don't see animal products as food anymore. You see
Yeah.
them for what they truly are. It is so there's no going back. And it is so much easier to live this full, abundant, plant-fueled life.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Greg.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on today.
Welcome back. If you're in the DC or Virginia Beach area, are you running to your local Fruitive? I know I would be. To connect with Greg, find Fruitive on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook at Fruitive, and on YouTube and TikTok at Fruitive Restaurant. For Greg's personal brand, find him on Instagram at Fruitive Founder. As a reminder, here are the 3 tips Greg shared in getting started. Number 1, commit to eating only plant foods and start including some SOS-free dishes. Read some plant-based books. We talked about some good ones in this episode, and I'll definitely include links to each one of them in the show notes. And number 3, find someone who will encourage you in your journey, whether it's, like Greg said, listening to a podcast like this one, or finding a coach like Greg. Find that person who will keep you motivated when you're feeling down, when you feel like you can't do it, when you don't believe in yourself, and let them help you pick yourself back up. It's worth it. You're worth it. Keep going, keep trying, and keep learning. I hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring. Please subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're loving it, please give Did You Bring the Hummus a 5-star rating and leave a review. It's an easy way to keep supporting the show. Be sure to share these episodes with your friends. If you're finding something good here, they will too. If you're a vegan or know a vegan who would be a great fit for the podcast, follow the Be a Guest link in the show notes. Fill out the quiz, and I'll be in touch. Get on my mailing list and grab 3 super fun and easy recipes as a thank you. Check out the Support the Podcast tab on my website for more info on how you can support this show as a monthly contributor or by sponsoring episodes. And don't forget about that public speaking option I mentioned earlier in the show. It's a really great one. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Did You Bring the Hummus, and visit my website, didyouBringTheHummus.com, for more information about me, updates on what I'm working on, new podcast episodes, and all things vegan. Finally, I would love to hear from you. What do you need help with? Is there a topic you want to hear covered on a future episode? DM me on Instagram or send me an email at info@didyouBringTheHummus.com. Thanks for listening.